So double vision. It's an interesting topic, isn't it? Because don't we live in a world of duality? Don't we live in a world where we look at things from both sides? They're always looking at it from these two sides. So I'm going to come back, I'm going to start where we always start out. And that is, we know, and I know, there's a power greater than me that is working through me, for me, in all times. That's one of my affirmations. I do affirmations every day about this idea that this power within me brings forth from me everything that I focus on. There's nothing I can't do when I'm aligned with this power. And so I'm doing the affirmations, and the other day I did the affirmation, one of my favorite ones. I live in the now in non-judgment and non-attachment. That's a beautiful, beautiful affirmation. And let me just say that that affirmation sometimes just sucks. I don't know how else to say that. Because we live in a world of contrast. Is that not true? So contrast is always going to be coming forth in our lives, always going to be showing up in our lives. So Friday night, I go to a wedding. I'm officiating a wedding on Friday night. It's my neighbors across the street. They're wonderful people. I've watched this young girl grow up from being a young child to being married, and I'm doing the wedding. And the wedding ceremony, you know, we prayed, and the weather stopped. It was outdoors for the ceremony. It was absolutely gorgeous. By the time we came in, and then the rain started coming down, and everything was beautiful. There was a joy, there was a sense. And I'm there, and I'm sort of, you may not know me, but when I'm in a social setting, I'm a butterfly. I float here, I float there, I'm schmoozing with everyone I can meet. Well, finally, Jean comes over. We're sitting over here, and we're sitting with some of our neighbors. So I go, and I sit down, I look next to me, and there is one of my favorite neighbors. I say that sarcastically. This is one of the individuals who, for the last 15 years, has been trying to have me accept the Lord Jesus Christ as my personal Savior, and that I am going to go and be damned to hell. So I sit down and all my thing, and we're going on, and I'm telling him a story about something that's happened in my life, and all of a sudden, bam! The judgment came out, and it was like vicious judgment, just vicious judgment, not of me, but these other people, and just judging and judging and judging and judging, and finally I stopped, and I said, can we stop the judging? And the person looked at me and said, then why don't you just stop judging me, because you've just done it. And then the stuff comes up. You know the stuff comes up, and you want to literally rip their face off. You want to take Jesus, and you want to take Jesus in a big ball, and you want to throw it on them. And I shut up. And I pondered what was going on. First off, I was pondering, why was I feeling emotion? Because I teach this stuff. I'm supposed to be really good at this stuff, right? And I realized, number one, there was no way that anything I said was going to be heard, because she was functioning on frequency 72.3, and I'm functioning on frequency 108.2. Those frequencies are nowhere near each other, so it didn't matter if you were right, wrong, indifferent. It didn't matter what you said. There was no possible way it was going to be heard. So then the question came to me, why did I open my mouth? And the reason came to me is I was not aware in the moment. I was not aware in the moment that there was no possible way that there was going to be a vibrational connection. Then I said, so what should I have done? And I said, I could have not talked was an option. I could have walked away. I could have moved my seat and gone somewhere else. I had these options, but I didn't allow myself to function within those options. I allowed myself to say, oh, I was given a seat. I'm here. I'm going to talk. And I know it's going to be this way because it's always been this way, because we're not of a vibrational frequency. And I bought into what we buy into all the time. And you see this if you're in the gym. I go to the gym, LA Fitness, and what happens there? The politics is going on left and right about this and this and this. And all of a sudden, I'm an agitator, if you don't know that. And I'll throw out something like, well, Lee, who do you want? And here's my new line. I'm for people having more abundance in their lives. I'm for people having more affordable housing. I'm for the individuals of this country having a greater say in government. I'm for bringing greater jobs and jobs that pay well into this country. And when it comes time to vote, I will vote for the individual that I feel is for something and not against something. And they stood up, well, what are you going to do about this? What about this? I said, I don't have to be concerned with that. I'm not going to buy into the drama. So then, I have a dear friend, and I know he'll be watching this, but he just did a TED Talk. And his TED Talk was, he did study after study after study about happiness. And Earl is a person who has a mathematical mind. In other words, when we sat down, we had just done 10 days of John DeMartini, 14 hours a day, and we sat down, and Earl's the CEO of an international company traveling around the world all the time. He sat down, he says, let me do a mathematical analysis of you. And he explained me in math, and I understood him, and that blew me away from that standpoint. Because I don't think I can be put into a mathematical formula, but he found a way. So he's a deep thinker. He posted this the other day on Facebook. Your self-love, self-esteem, and self-worth are constantly broadcasted by the words that you speak. And I wrote him back on Facebook. I said, today, that sucks. Because it was the day after this wedding. And I'm saying, oh my God, I was putting out not love. I was putting out not self-esteem. I was putting out not self-worth. I had bought into conditions and let another person affect me. Think about what we teach. We teach oneness. We teach that there's an infinite power and presence. Call it God, call it universal mind, call it spirit, call it the collective consciousness. But we teach that there is a power and a presence that radiates in and through me, in and through you, that it is chosen to be individualized as each of us, and that we have the power to tap into that. So if we understand our oneness, then no one on the outside is necessary to fulfill us, to make us feel better, to make us self-love. We don't need that, but in human form, we dance with that. That's the fun part about being in human body, is that we get to dance with people, we get to interact. But here's the key. The words you speak are so important. And we go back to the 4 agreements with Don Miguel Ruiz, when he talks about we must be impeccable with our word. When he says that, what he's basically saying is align your words so that all of them, your words and thoughts, are aligned with what is it you desire to be in the world. When you align yourself to what it is you want to be in the world, you will be in a flow. You'll be going downstream and not upstream. You'll not be fighting against, you'll be moving forward with. Oh, that's the easy route. So why do we fight? We've been taught to say words that are not empowering. So I want to explore some of these words with you. I put a bunch of them up here. Anytime you're in a conversation and you're saying the word but, stop. If someone says to you, but, understand, it's not what you want. You're making excuses. Remember, you are the infinite expressing yourself. And as the infinite expressing itself, there's nothing you cannot do when you are tapped into that infinite power, into that infinite wisdom. You have that ability, but it's a process of becoming, because in the spiritual form, that happens instantaneously. But in the physical form, we must align our thoughts, our words, and our actions. We must form a mental consciousness. We must form a way of being. And when we form that way of being, we now start to put out an energy, and that energy attracts to us that which we become. But we cannot attract to us anything that we've not become. Do you get that? So our job on the planet is, how do I become this which I'm desiring to express and experience? And but takes us out of there. And I love this one. I get this all the time as a minister. Lee, I know that, but. And I say, I don't want to hear it. Because the but's an excuse. And so if you've got someone in your life and they're giving you the but, you ought to ask them, why don't you tell me what you want? Stop telling me what you don't want. Tell me what you want. Let's put all our energy in a direction of what I want, okay? The next word is because. How many people have heard Jim Rohn when he was alive? Jim Rohn was one of the greatest motivational, inspirational speakers ever. All of the people today are modeled after Jim Rohn. And Jim Rohn was a sales trainer to start. And he would say, I had this form for my sales reps that I gave them every week. And there was this box. And there was a box that was about a little box, a little box. And he says, put down the number of sales you made last week. And people would say, the box isn't big enough. And Jim would look at him and say, did you have that many sales? No, but I have to put down the reasons why I didn't get more. And he says, no, I just want the number of sales. I don't need any, because I want to know what your results are, because until I know what your results are, we can't change your habits. And if we don't change your habits, you're not going to get a new result. So the question is, have you met your goals today? It's a yes or it's a no. Now the key is, don't beat yourself up for it. Accept yourself. That's where I'm at. It was a no today. Why? Doesn't matter. It was a no. What am I going to do tomorrow? I'll do better. But you see, we've got to stop making excuses for ourselves. Because we are 100% responsible for our lives. This is one of the things I thoroughly understand. Every day that I'm in ministry, I get that more and more. As I watched my brother Chi-Sing die last week, it really became clear as I was sitting next to him in hospice, holding his hand, talking to him and praying with him about what did he want. And he said, I want to let go of things that are still hurting me. And that's what we did. We did the work on forgiveness. And forgiveness is simply letting go of an attachment to something that's happened in the past that is no longer serving us. When we did that, finished that, with that prayer, you could see the relaxation come over him. You could see that the fear, it sort of dissolved right there. You see, fear is an unnecessary response that we built up in our mind, but when we shine the light on something, we make it clear, it dissolves. I can't. You can do anything you choose. You've got the ability. I choose not to be a rock star. I've heard myself sing. But I would imagine if I had the desire that was great enough, I could learn a musical instrument. Because at 14, I did play the accordion for 6 months. Was not the instrument I would have chosen, but my father, being Polish, felt his son being a polka boy would be the right thing to do. I would imagine that I could train my voice, that I could pass singing. Because what I understand is you don't have to scream. You have a microphone. If you can just take your voice and be natural with it and have training with it, learn to breathe with it, you could do it. But you see, that's not my purpose. My purpose in life is not to be a singer. It's not to be a rock star. I love it. I love to do air guitar. I love to jam with it. But that's not my purpose. But what I've desired to be is I've desired to be a world-renowned master teacher of how to better self-love through conscious living. So everything I do is centered on that. Everything I do is what I read, what I talk, what I teach, the people that I attract into my life, they're all on that topic because that's where I find my greatest joy. So I can do that. I can do it as well as anyone out there. Maybe is an excuse. Maybe is this. Maybe is saying, I haven't decided. Maybe I'm going to go to that concert. No, you haven't decided. Maybe I'll lose some weight this week. Maybe I stop drinking this week. No, maybe is a thing. This maybe is really a sad word. It's a really sad word because what it's saying is that you're not willing to make a decision. Well, no one's going to make a decision for you but yourself. And until you make a decision, what happens? Nothing. You stay locked where you are. You're stuck until you make a new decision. You don't need anything. Everything that you need is already in you. You have the power within you. It doesn't matter if I say, I need money. No, you need to express your idea of yourself in the form of service that the world will enumerate back to you. You don't need more money. You need to be of greater service in the world. I need a partner. No, you need to be more self-loving. Because when you become self-loving, you attract a partner who will self-love themselves and let you self-love, and then you come together and you co-create. I need more health. No, you need to realize that the power to be healthy is within you, and you release the idea that it's the physical that's caused the problem, but there's a mental pattern within you, and when you go to cause, you see, this is the thing we teach at Agape. This is all New Thought churches, religious science, centers for spiritual living, unity, the people in the movie The Secret, all the inspirational people. They teach really simple stuff. Really simple stuff. It's in you. Bring it forth. But here's the thing. 99% of the people who come to the center, 99% of the people who go to other centers, 99% of the people who go to a Tony Robbins, a John DeMartini, Jim Rohn when he was alive, they don't do the work. Do you realize how much product is sold at one of these monster seminars? Hundreds of thousands of dollars will be sold at a Tony Robbins seminar. Less than 10% ever gets taken out of the wrapper. 10% of that may get listened to. So here's the thing that we understand. Very few people decide to do the work. When there's no decision to do the work, nothing changes. Nothing changes. You see, you can't keep doing the same thing and have something new happen. Something new has to change in order for things to change. Does that make sense? It's real simple. The question is, people have to get to their certain level where they're willing to make that decision to change and to commit. You're not expressing love anytime you judge. That was the lesson I got at the wedding. I was in judgment. I should have just walked away and understood that's where this person is. They're in their perfect place. Let it be. One of the things that I've understood, anytime we're in an argument and we're trying to convince someone of something, we're only trying to convince ourselves. Because when you know something, you don't have to say it again. See how simple that is? When you know something, you don't feel a need to say it over and over again. The only time you need to say it over and over again is if you don't know it. It's a blind belief. It's a belief that has no substance. And most people's beliefs are blind beliefs. There's no real creative thought behind it. There's no substance behind it. They've never done the work and asked, is this really what I believe? Is this what I choose to believe? Does this thought pattern support me in achieving my purpose? Does it support my 5 highest values? If it doesn't support your 5 highest values, don't do it. Let it go. Let someone else do it. Anytime that we're not accepting. You see, this is the key thing. When I was with this individual last week, and I was talking with a family member, I was saying that it's about before there can be a peaceful passing, there has to be a real demonstration of love. And what was said to me was this. Well, we gathered around and we prayed and we said, I love you. And I said, I want you to consider something. Saying love is a very nebulous thing. No one really has a clear understanding of what love means in that. But if you look at someone that you've had disagreements with, and you can look them in the eyes and you can say, I accept you, that's powerful. For me, that's the greatest expression of love that you can give to another human being. Follow this. It's the greatest expression of love that you can give to yourself. That's where the whole journey starts. It's about, can I accept myself with all my unique quirks, with all my great values, with all of my magnificence, with all of my past and all of my mistakes and all of my zigzagging all over, can I accept me as I am? I want you to know I'm doing my best to love me, and that's by accepting me. But does that mean I accept and I stay stagnant where I'm at? No. It means I know there's more to me that wants to be out there to be a greater expression of love, a greater expression of acceptance. That's what I know for you. We can always be more. We are infinite beings. Think about that. We're infinite beings, and we can be infinite. That means we're never going to get there. Do you hear that? We're never going to get there. There's no end. When my friend Brother Chising died, there's no end. He's just not in human form, but that soul, that essence, that consciousness, that point of light in all light is going on to further evolve, to further become aware, to further express magnificence. So he's released this body that no longer serves him, but he's now free of the body and he's going on to the next adventure. The other one is anytime we defend ourselves. We don't ever need to defend ourselves. Think about the times in your life when you've had to go into defense and how crappy you felt because you had to defend yourself. What if you just stood there and didn't? Why do I need to defend myself? I accept myself as I am. See, when you accept yourself as you are, do you need to defend? No. When you defend, you don't accept. You're crosswise with yourself. See, one of the greatest things that we learn in our class that we're finishing up this week on creating your perfect healthy body, and we talk about the idea of aging versus decaying. Most people, because of blindness, allow their bodies to decay. Aging is a natural state. It's a natural thing. It's like there's hair missing back here, see? That's aging. Your skin becoming a little thinner. That's aging. Gray. That's aging. Being able to go to the gym and function on an elliptical, being able to do flexibility drills and yoga, being able to hike up a mountain, being able to lift weights, being able to play tennis, to play golf, to do things with our physical body, we don't have to stop that. We can go on and on and on, and then in the last moment say, I'm done, check out. I think the best person, Esther Hicks, says this all the time. Here's my plan for life. Happy, healthy, happy, healthy, happy, healthy, dead. So you're living every moment of your life to its fullest. But you see, in order to live your life to the fullest, you've got to speak words out there that support that. These words do not. I invite you to consider, if not all of them, at least start with some of them, releasing them from your vocabulary. And if you're related to each other or you're friends with each other, anytime you hear your partner say one of these words, say, I just heard you say that word. Can we reframe that? Can we reframe that? I know that caused someone to pucker. I heard there was a large puckering sound on this side of the room. I'm not going to point anywhere, but I know there was a puckering sound on this side. The fact of the matter is one of the vows that's in the marriage ceremony that I do, it's not a vow, but it's part of what I say to couples when I marry them. I said one of the keys to having a successful marriage is that you have to ask for what you want when you want it. You've got to be able to say to your partner, I'm here to support and grow you, and I'm seeing you saying these words that are not powerful. You're not growing yourself. I'm here to call you on your stuff. Now, as a partner, you can't respond negatively back. If you do, the relationship's going nowhere. You might as well check out. I'm just being very straightforward about it, because a relationship, if it's not supporting and growing you, why be in it? There's 7.5 billion people on the planet. Find one who will grow and support you. 7.5 billion people. You can certainly find someone that will support you and grow you. You don't have to stay where you're at. You can, but you don't have to. You can see at Agape, we're not attached. I keep telling my wife, just because I've been married to you for 43 years, if you're not growing and supporting me, I'm going to find someone who does. Look at the judgment. Do you see that? Anytime we judge, we're not accepting. And I did that purposely for the girls over there. Because remember, my role is to press buttons. My role is not to be anything but that. As a teacher, what I've come to understand, and I got this from John DeMartini. He's one of my most favorite teachers on the planet. Is John said, I'm here to press your buttons. That's my only job. If I'm not pressing your buttons, I'm not doing anything of value. Do you hear that? If I'm not pressing your buttons and it's too comfortable, how are you going to grow? You see, that's why there's contrast. Contrast is there to grow. Words are there to grow from. So when I think about what happened the other night at the wedding, I'm in gratitude. I'm so grateful I had that experience. I'm so grateful for that person who allowed me to have that experience because it helped me become more aware. And it gave me a whole new talk. Because when I heard that, when I feel that there's an emotional charge coming through me, and I have work to do, then I know that if it's coming through me, then it's got to be working on someone else in the community. Because we're all gathered here in this idea of energy, and energy is the only reason you were here, because you were attracted by, there's something about us that is vibrating at the same level. So I want to go back. Your self-love, self-esteem, and self-worth are constantly broadcasted by the words that you speak. About you, and about others, and about the world, about life. I ask you today to consider pausing just a half a second before you speak and ask, does this serve my highest vision? Does this serve who I choose to be? Is this an expression of love? I want to thank you for joining us today. I am so grateful that you took your time to watch or listen to this message. If you found this message beneficial, I would ask you to go to our website. Once there, click on the Contribute button and experience the joy of conscious and purposeful giving. It is through your gifts that we are able to bring this message to the world. I would also ask you to please share this message with anyone you feel might benefit. Again, I want to thank you for joining me and the Agape community as together we bring joy to life.